This is The Herd. Wherever you may be, however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Again in Los Angeles, hour number 3. Joy Taylor is joining me. Drew Brees stopped by today. Very nice. He was only on a couple of shows. Picked ours. Always appreciate that. Total class. Gary Myers is going to be joining us, Joy, in 50 minutes. He is a longtime New York sports writer who covers the NFL exclusively. He's got a new book, How About Them Cowboys? He goes inside some really interesting stuff on Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett and Stephen Jones and the relationship and Dak.
A lot of chatter lately about Jason Garrett.
A lot of chatter in Vegas right now. Jason Garrett is the leading coach to be fired in the NFL. Jerry historically has had patience. He gave Barry Switzer a lot of years, Dave Campbell a lot of years, sometimes to the chagrin of Cowboy fans. So coming up in 15 minutes, NFL columnist Gary Myers, who's got a new Cowboy book. Later in Best for Last, I'll give you the most impressive Drew Brees stat nobody is talking about. But let's talk about last night. Drew Brees last night made NFL history last night. So I'm going to start right there. I'm always more impressed when people overcome things in life. I want you to think about the obstacles Drew Brees has faced in life. Number one, DNA. He's 6 feet tall. There was no Russell Wilson. People didn't want to draft him. 6 feet tall quarterbacks don't make it. DNA disadvantage. Junior year of high school, tears his knee up. Senior year, nobody will give him a scholarship except 2 basketball schools, Purdue and Kentucky. He goes to the NFL where he's good in San Diego for 3 years, and then they draft Phillip Rivers, another obstacle. Oh, by the way, in the NFL, his last game in San Diego, he hurts his shoulder. And then he goes to Miami, and publicly the doctor says, I can't clear you to play. Obstacle. And then he goes to New Orleans, and it's a natural disaster. Katrina, obstacle. They play home games in San Antonio, one of them in New York. And then halfway through his stay in New Orleans, Sean Payton gets suspended for a year, his architect. His life is a movie that you cry at. You cry during. It's not a documentary. It's a tearjerker. It's A Star is Born. I mean, it's incredible what he's overcome. We live at a time now. God, you spend 5 minutes on Twitter, it's woe is me. Everybody's against me. Hey, millennials, sorry if mom didn't pack you lunch and fold your underwear. Drew Brees, it's been every 2 years, a major obstacle, natural disasters, DNA, injuries. His timing's been terrible. God, he goes to New Orleans, Katrina. His last game in San Diego, he gets hurt. The greatest 8 quarterbacks I've ever seen play the game: Peyton, Brady, Montana, Bradshaw, Elway, Marino, Aikman, Brees. And all of them have different stories, but compare it to Peyton Manning. He broke his record last night, right? Passing yards. But think of Peyton Manning's path. Peyton Manning DNA. Perfect. 6'5". Peyton Manning's dad, NFL quarterback. Peyton Manning had his choice of SEC schools surrounded by NFL players. And then when he goes to Indianapolis, they land Bill Polian, Hall of Fame general manager, who gives Peyton Manning great player after great player after great player on the offensive side. He also got drafted. I mean, if you think about Peyton Manning's life, and he deserves all the acclaim, he didn't face all these obstacles. Drew Brees, from DNA on, nothing but hurdles. Nothing but roadblocks. And he breaks Peyton Manning's record. It's unbelievable. So when I say great 8 quarterbacks and people push back on it, I'm like, look at your own life. I mean, I say this all the time. I had a few divorces in my life when I was a kid. But my mom was doting. My dad was a doctor, so I got some of his brain power. I had a good relationship with my sister. I lived in the same house forever. I got a quarterback in high school. I fell in love with sports. I grew up in a small town, so there was, lots of space right next to the beach. Had a good dog. I may have had some issues in my life, but I didn't have that many roadblocks. I had a good life. I went to therapy once. I was like, what am I crying for? I didn't have any roadblocks. Yeah, there's a few divorces in my life. Drew Brees' life? His athletic career, his professional career, it's just like it's a steeplechase, hurdle after hurdle after hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. And here's the play where he set the record.
So the family's on the field in anticipation of celebration. Will we get it here before halftime? Brees wide open. Wide open. And Smith. What a way to do it.
Isn't that great? Isn't that fitting? A big play. A big play. Congratulations to Drew Brees. Tip of the cap. One of my all-time favorite guys. Started watching football in 1972. His story is as great as anybody that's ever played that position in this league. Amazing. Let me shift gears to this. Drew Brees, it's fitting Drew Brees did what he did last night because the NFL's hard. Careers don't last very long. You don't have guaranteed contracts. A doctor can say, you're not cleared to play. It's hard. That's why I think I've always liked football players more than other athletes. It's hard, man. It's hard. Successful guys are dealing with injuries. So the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday, they just found out Jay Ajayi, a running back, tore his ACL. Oh, another bit of bad news for the Eagles. By the way, he called out the team and their play calling. Hours later, he found out ACL tear, probably out for the year. Yeah, when you win in Philadelphia and then you start lecturing the NFL, Drew Brees showed you last night, it's hard. Think about all the things that have changed in the last 5 to 6 months for Philadelphia. Their offensive coordinator is now a head coach. He left in Indianapolis. Their quarterback coach is now the offensive coordinator in Minneapolis. LeGarrette Blount, Trey Burton, Brent Selleck retires. Torrey Smith traded. Mike Wallace placed on IR. Darren Sproles out since week 1. Jay Ajayi probably out for the year. Okay? This is why I said the Philadelphia Eagles, books, parades, chatter, politics reminded me so much of my hometown Seattle Seahawks. New England is on their 18th straight year of being in the Super Bowl conversation. Do we understand how unbelievable that is? We're a few months removed from the Super Bowl champs. They go into camp. They're a mess. Their season Thursday against the New York Giants. I know it's like week 6, but am I wrong saying it's a must win? This is why I compared the Eagles to the Seahawks. They were historically frustrating franchise. They land a star quarterback. Doesn't take long. They win a Super Bowl. They get loud. They start talking. They lose coordinators. And the next morning they wake up. Oh, we're back to being what we looked like. You ever throw a big party at your house? You ever throw a big party at your house? And I mean, here's my thing. When my wife and I once or twice a year will throw a party. And I'm like, I don't want to party till 4 a.m. because I know what it looks like in my house the next morning when I wake up. This is why one of the mantras on my show is celebrate briefly, grind daily. The bigger the party, the bigger the mess the following morning when you wake up. Folks, getting to the top is one thing. Staying there is harder. There's been a lot of one-hit wonders in music. There's a handful of legends. And Philadelphia, don't give up on them. That division's not very good. I still think the Philadelphia Eagles will find a way to get into the playoffs. But what you're seeing, Jay Ajayi, out now probably for the year, you know what you should be thinking about? How damn impressive New England is. Philadelphia, that's got a good owner, a great GM, a great coach, a great quarterback. Check, 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 check. All the things. Great offensive line, great defensive line. It's man overboard 6 months later. Coming up next, longtime NFL writer Gary Myers, New York Daily News. He's left that gig. He's writing books. He's got one on the Dallas Cowboys. All sorts of good insight, gossip, good stuff, big J journalism, all the stuff we like. 66% of men lose their hair by the age of 35, and those men just walk around sad for the rest of their life. It's just so sad. But, you know, if you start to notice it, it's too late. That's why you go to forhims.com. It's a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness. You should just walk up to those bald men and say, I feel so bad for you. It's just, you know, wasn't your brother bald, Joy?
He's still currently bald.
Thanks to, he should have gone to 4 Hims, you know. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Real doctors, medical grade solutions, no snake oil pills. You'll go online, No awkward in-person doctor visit. Few quick questions. Doctor reviews it, prescribes you products, and they're shipped to your door. They're actually for $5 giving you a trial month at 4Hims while their supplies last. All you have to do is go to 4Hims, Forhims, 4hims.com/Colin, 4hims.com/Colin. No waiting rooms. Very easy. No gas station counter supplements. 4hims.com/Colin.
The NLCS on FS1. Dodgers, Brewers. Game 1. Coverage begins Friday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on FS1.
Some restaurants say you should drink your meals. Well, America deserves better. At Carl's Jr. and Hardee's, choose from a variety of full-flavored all-star meals starting at $5. Get a real meal. Paid for by Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
With Samuel Adams, we were always looking for the best hops. Out of 150